I must say that we have become a very strong family. And without a strong family, we would all not be here. I must say that I'm proud of the outcome of the awards. Last time I wanted to cry. Why? Because our measurement of success was not guided by our background. And therefore, our hard-working women in the rural areas, our women that are always with the children, our women who started doing the work long, long ago when there was no support from government, were not recognized.
Amen.
And I strongly believe in ECD. Why? Because kids that go through ECD are very strong. They develop cognitively. They can stand the test of time. And emotionally, they become strong because they've got the full support of the ECD. Now, I think we are trying our best, because when we joined the department, the support by government was not equalized. And now it has been equalized for children in the urban and rural areas, and we've always said the rights of the children in the rural areas are equal to those of the children in urban areas. The people that I work with know that I don't waste my time on accolades. We've been focusing on ECD. And when we did our audit, we found out that there are good ECDs that are performing very well, that qualified for the grant. But there are those that do not qualify. And I know that in some of the provinces, when it was said that government has said ECD must become a public good, some of our people went amok and closed ECD centers. And we never said that ECD centers must be closed. We said we're going to try and ensure that we assist those that are not strong with basics. And also, there are non-negotiables in ECD centers. For me, 2 exits, because when there is fire or whatever, kids get disorganized. So they must be able to move out quickly. Secondly, not to have gas stoves inside the ECD. Thirdly, not to cook where our kids have their lessons. So for me, those are non-negotiables. And saying that these are non-negotiables does not mean that we must come and lock ECD centers. It means this is a challenge we have to face and deal with. Why? Because we are developing a better child for the future. We are developing a strong foundation. Human development. When you take your child to an ECD center, it looks like some lalwana, like you are playing. That's very important. I can tell you, I always talk about my brothers who came after me. There's a big difference between us, with my sister and them. When my brother holds a book and reads, you can hear the difference. Why? Because he did not come across a book at school. He came across a book long ago. Shapes, dynamism, free thinking. The ECD is very important. One other area where we are weak is the disability area. We also have to look into that area and see how we are going to consolidate it. Why I think we need to look carefully into this. When we were kids, we were very naughty. And the kids even today are naughty. If you don't prepare thoroughly for kids with disabilities in ECD centers, you are destroying children with disabilities. They also have rights. Now, we are trying to upscale our programs because there are other pressing matters of the government. One of those is parenting. Taking a child to an ECD center is not enough. ECD centers must be used as centers of empowering parents. But also, parenting has its own challenges during this period of transformation. Period where you have orphans, kids who stay on their own, end up being impregnated by big men, and a 13-year-old gives birth to a child whilst she still looks at herself as a child. I saw that here in the Western Cape. We had a meeting, we're campaigning, and then after the meeting, there comes this young woman, a child, carrying a baby. And then as she handed over the baby to her mother. And then I say, how? Couldn't you wait? Your mother is still busy. Just sacrifice your few minutes. Hold the baby. hold your sister. And then a mother said, will you please tell the minister who that is? And that baby was the baby of a 14-year-old. Now, the dust is here. Busy playing, and the child is crying, and that's not a baby. Because she takes herself as a child. And those are the realities we have to try and deal with. Nurturing, growing just one child for a 32 years old woman is a mission and a half. I think we've not been able to contextualize properly the challenges that are faced by our children when it comes to parenting, because we expect them to be parents, and we also expect them, or they think they are children. Whilst we are saying they are parents, and they are saying to us, we are not parents, man. We are kids. That is one other issue we have to look into. The issues of absent fathers has to be looked into. And that is a subject for another day. But for now, social development must be able to have a session with the parents of children in ECD centers, so that what the kids gain from the ECD center is taken home, so that we can be able to improve the way or improve the understanding of the basic values of the community, so that we can be able to strengthen families. Because our programs should be a continuum of programs. You can't have ECD there, and have parenting there, and have families there, and have grants there, and separate them. They must be a continuum so as to make an impact. And women, don't look down upon yourselves. Well, I would like to welcome a few men that work in the ECD centers. It's also a good thing. It shows that in South Africa we have men that do not discriminate at children. We have men that have a passion for our children. And therefore they should be encouraged, because once you start working with children and you are a man, that even works your consciousness and your psyche when it comes to the issues of gender equality and power relations. So that is a very good thing. We must not discourage it. One other area that I like talking about when it comes to ECDs is that we must really encourage women to take their kids to ECD centers. I know there are those that prefer home ECD. But when you take your kids, you must mobilize, go out, encourage women to take their children to school. I know some are going to say they don't have money. But there are measures that we have taken for now to address basically the issues of food in ECD centers.
Amen.
We are in some of the provinces. We've started working with the nutrition centers. They supply ECDs, whilst ECDs are establishing themselves. Others get support from the SRD. You know, these people that always talk about the food parcel, they don't know that we have actually moved. We are very far because we are using social relief of distress to feed our children in ECD centers. Because once the child comes to an ECD center, she or he has to eat nutritious food. And in our CNTCs, we have starch, red and green vegetable, and usually white meat. So, if you take your child to an ECD center, you are empowering that child, you are developing that child for the future. One other thing is the training. The Lekgotla of the ruling party, the ANC, took a decision after the Mangaung conference that ECD must become a public good. We've increased the support to 15 rand per child per day, and we've also increased the numbers or the days. But our challenge is that once you say something becomes a public good, angazi ukuthi abantu besilisa bayinuka kanjani imali. When there were issues of a home-based care, women used to work very hard. And then when salaries came into being, or stipends, I don't know how they came in and they took over the whole thing. And therefore, the government has said ECD must be a public good. And please stay put, improve your skills. And what I know is that we are not going to throw away our women who dedicated themselves in developing an African child. What is important is that we must all improve our knowledge. And the Department of Higher Education has already started looking into formalizing the education of the practitioners. And also in countries where they are serious about early childhood development, there are diplomas and degrees on ECD. And therefore, we are going to encourage young people to go back to school and study so that you are able to deal with the issues of children. One other thing that I would like to raise is that there are young people here who passed grade 12 with a bachelor's pass. And if you want to exit and go and study social work, the opportunity is there. And what is important is that already you are working with human beings. And therefore, you stand a better chance of getting a bursary, but also you are going to be amongst the best of the best because of your background, because of your understanding of how to work with human beings. Human beings are human beings. They are not just boxes and what and what. And therefore, we have to improve our skills and understanding of human development, stages of development, and other areas that are related to ECD. Adopt an ECD campaign. NDA is doing very well. They are not going to talk about things that are very obvious. I would like to say NDA must develop a strong relationship with ECDs. And also, ECDs must develop a strong relationship with NDA, because we are going to have a long-standing relationship. Capacity building. And when you just want to go and complain, you know, sometimes you want to go and complain and there isn't anyone to talk to. NDA is there to assist you. Lastly, it was good, though I came late, I really enjoyed just something that maybe you did not observe because you are used to. Creativity. 2, the way you express yourselves when you are called to come and take your prize. It shows that you work with children. And I would have been shocked if someone just came, and I would say, that one is in a wrong place. But I think you are all at the right place. And keep up the good work.